Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and the Pittsburgh Steelers face off with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and the Baltimore Ravens in a massive AFC North showdown. This is the best rivalry in the entire AFC. It has been as long as this thing got started, and it's going to be physical from the get-go. Throw out the records, although they have the same record, and the winner of this game will have the first place position in the division, but we're going to see some big hits. And despite both of these teams coming off of some brutal losses, both of them blowouts, both of them in major disappointing fashions at home, right? Pittsburgh gets blown out at home against the Buffalo Bills, 26-7. They give up 250 rushing yards, whereas the Baltimore Ravens, chaotic turnovers, an ineffective ability to just execute by the goal line. This was the kind of game that came as a shock. It's hard for me to fully wrap my head around that one still. I was certain that they were going to beat Cincinnati despite Burrow coming back, yet here we are, 6-6, and the winner is in the driver's seat in the division until they play each other the last game of the regular season. Now, to start off with this game, I don't know if you can start anywhere else besides Aaron Rodgers, the hit he took, and then there's the touchdown for Buffalo, which changed the entire game. To think that the Pittsburgh Steelers were up 7-3 at the half, and then for the second half to just go that way, the game fully changes on that play. Joey Bosa, heck of a player. He's a great addition for Buffalo. Pittsburgh's got to stop the run. And if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, and you're looking at this team, they've been the best running team in football with this attack of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Pittsburgh knows it very well, but still, it's been very tough to stop. Either way, they're still fifth in the NFL in rushing offense. 137 yards a game on the ground for Baltimore. You would think it's a down year, right? Baltimore, they must be somewhere in the teens. Haven't run the ball great this season. It's not a great year for them. Still fifth in rushing offense. Still 12th in points per game. Not at all horrible, as the Baltimore Ravens fans have let me know, or have let a lot of us know. Look, that's the standard. I understand it. Baltimore's just been that good. But it is a valid point, because they're used to them scoring the most points in the league. Them and the Lions, those are the only teams in the NFL that had scored over 1,000 points the last two seasons. And typically against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's like, all right, they've got good defenses, but we're just going to be able to outscore them. And they've had good defenses there in Baltimore of their own. But now for Pittsburgh, the massive concern is this is one of the poorer defenses in the NFL. Gave up 31 points to the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, I was at that game, and for a large part of that game, like the middle eight, end of the first half, Bears are able to steal 3 points, cut the deficit to 4, have an explosion, right? They have, 17 points unanswered in that one to take a 10-point lead before final drive. But Pittsburgh's 28th in the NFL in total defense. They give up 368 yards a game. They're 17th in rushing D, which is middle of the pack. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with guys like Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, who's, he'd been a little bit banged up, but TJ Watt on this team. I mean, heck of a play on Caleb Williams. By the way, the Chicago crowd was pretty pissed about that play. There was a lot of snide remarks about Caleb making that mistake there. But anyhow, this Pittsburgh team is not playing great on the defensive side of the football. They bring in Jalen Ramsey, the trade with Minka, and he hasn't been all that they thought that he would be in the sense of the impact. Joey Porter, he's got to continue to try and play very sound football. Look, this Baltimore team doesn't prevent all that many challenges for you on the perimeter with these wide receivers. Their strength is running the football. That's what they want to do. That's their identity. On the 5-game winning streak, they were starting to run the football a heck of a lot better, and being able to then complement that by playing pretty dang sound defense. Getting Derrick Henry going, even if he didn't have the yards. Like, I'm thinking about a game against the Jets. He had like 70 yards, but he put in 2 touchdowns. Or the game against the Cleveland Browns. You have a bit more of a a yardage from him, 5 yards a carry. He's got 100 yards and he's got a touchdown. And Lamar Jackson's got a couple of carries. So when this team's at its best, Lamar is scrambling 6-7 times for 50 yards, no doubts. Derrick Henry's getting 19, 20, 22 carries a game, and they can lean on their best two weapons offensively. We were expecting a breakout, a big year from Mark Andrews, and I know that Baltimore fans have been disappointed that they just haven't had the level of production from Andrews this year that they thought that they would get. Last year, 11 touchdowns, 600 yards. The yards weren't quite where they wanted to be. But this season, he hasn't quite been at that level. He's the type of guy that I'm circling going against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. That's going to have to be a major factor. The tight end position, it's crucial for this Baltimore offense. When you don't have monsters, an example is a DK Metcalf type dominant outside threats, it's key to have a tight end be a major force. And speaking of that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, to sort of pivot away from that Baltimore offense, and look, some of this stuff may sound negative here. I'm just trying to give you a painted picture of what the fan bases have been like. I know exactly how it has been for you, likely a fan of one of these teams watching this video. But this is a rivalry where we're used to the quality of defense being at a high level, where these teams are coming in 8-4, 9-3 to this type of game, 12 games later on in the season, and that there's high stakes like this. And don't be fooled. Just because the records say 500 and somebody after this game is going to have a losing record, this game is going to be helmet popping from the get-go. It's going to be tight, lower scoring. Final score is probably 20-17 in this one. Despite the defenses not having played great this year, this is the game where it happens. I got confidence in that Pittsburgh defense coming together in this game. Why, you ask? You know the answer. Because Mike Tomlin is familiar. He knows that Monken-led offense. He knows how to handle Lamar Jackson. Now, he's tried to, hasn't done an incredible job since Lamar's been there. Nobody's done an incredible job handling Lamar Jackson. It's more of a comfortability and having a plan in place. A lot of people have a plan in place. They don't have a plan B, plan C. When plan A doesn't work, it's tough to do against Lamar. And Al Golden, the Notre Dame defensive coordinator, led them to a national championship appearance last year. He did a very good job for Cincinnati a week ago. That's been one of the poorer defenses, but he was able to figure out and limit the big runs from Baltimore's offense. Not a lot of explosive plays. And then turnovers happen. It's not in all the cases going to be a team-led thing. There can be a little bit of luck involved. Just one of those weird mental things in certain cases. Is hard to predict takeaways, but Al Golden's defense did a very nice job for Cincinnati a week ago. For this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, DK Metcalf needs more touches. He has to get the football more than 3 times. 5 targets. That is unacceptable. That can't happen. You're paying him over $30 million for 3 catches. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're talking about a guy that's making about $2 million a game, somewhere around there. And he's got almost 2 catches to the sense where he's making $1 million a catch in a game against the Buffalo Bills. This can't be right. This can't be the style. And I'm watching him. He had the touchdown against the Bears, and I'm watching it. But I'm watching DK Metcalf singled up on Nashawn Wright, guys like Nick McLeod, and he's not getting the football. The offense isn't throwing the ball down the field. Everything is underneath, and I understand it. But give him an opportunity. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments if there's something behind the scenes happening here, why DK Metcalf doesn't get more targets down the field. more 50-50 balls? Because I clearly, vividly remember, don't have to use both words, grammar check on myself, but you throw up the ball to a guy that's 6'3", 230 pounds, and he's got that vertical high 30s. He's going to come down and make a play most of the time. It's just not in their offense. He's getting singled up. There's man-on-man, single coverage. I'm watching in front of me, and Bears fans are happy it's not there. It's a check down. Kenneth Gainwell, gain of 5. Or it's Jalen Warren underneath, gain of 4. And then it's Washington for 4 yards. Like, this offense is so conservative. It blows my mind. You've got Aaron Rodgers. You've got a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greats to do it. And the fact that you're not able to be a bit more aggressive, take a couple more risks and shots down the field. And what do you know? The Buffalo Bills, time of possession, they eat you to death. They eat you to death. That's what happened. Suffocating. 42 minutes of time of possession to 18. 42 to 18. Doubled you up in yards, 372 to 166. Something has to change. We can't just continue to go out there and throw out the same offense that's underneath. Chicago with those linebackers, that's one thing, but Buffalo has been a little bit healthier here down the stretch. They've got Jordan Poyer back on that defense. They've got guys like Matt Milano, Shaq Thompson. Like, they've got players on that D. Same thing with Baltimore. They got Roquan Smith now. They have Mike Green trying to fill him a bit more into this defense. In the back end, Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton. There are guys. The underneath, keeping the ball in the checkdowns, that will not work. You will lose to the Ravens, and it won't be low scoring in that case because Baltimore is just going to get the football right back. There has to be an attack. Baltimore needs a reason to respect the deep ball, and then you can pick yards up underneath. And then Rodgers' quick release ability, that's where the success will come. But you have to throw the football down the field. I'm tired of seeing it. You've got a Ferrari in a quarterback, and you've put him on a pickleball court instead of putting him on an open track. He's trying to drive a Ferrari around a tiny little pickleball court, trying to weave in 3 feet of space between the net and the wall instead of putting him at the Daytona 500. Let this man drive a race car around the track. Take your shots. What do you have to lose right now? Losing to Baltimore is going to be what's in store in this road game if you just allow the Ravens to control the time of possession. Derrick Henry, he gets stronger as the game goes on. He's just been one of those guys. We all know it. That's his DNA. He gets tougher to tackle. The arms get heavier. The legs get heavier. They get tighter. The knees a bit more wobbly after Derrick Henry's helmet has run into them for the 19th time. Baltimore just saw the blueprint. They just saw the Buffalo Bills run out there, keep everything right there underneath, being aggressive, taking it away, limiting the Steelers to 58 yards on the ground. We're talking about the Bills who almost quintupled up rushing yards, 250 to 58. Absurd. Pittsburgh's been, I'll just say this, Pittsburgh's been my favorite team in the AFC to watch for a long time. I've always loved the Northern rivalries. I've always been a huge fan of Baltimore. Guys like T. Sizzle, Ray Lou, Ed Reed, the history of this rivalry, Troy Polamalu, or Polamalu as Pat McAfee calls him, James Harrison. There's so many great players in this rivalry. You think about great defenses. And from where it is in this particular season, with these two teams being tight, I can't help but feel very excited that this could bring us back 15 years to a bit more of a sloppy game, something that's tighter. Explosive plays here or there. You think of guys like Ray Rice, Jerome Bettis, Bill Cowher, right? Some of these iconic names and players. Jack Lambert, saw that jersey at Soldier Field all over the place. One of the best jerseys out there. Mean Joe Green, right? There's so many Hall of Famers between these two teams apiece. And there's Hall of Famers on these teams now with Rodgers, TJ Watt, Maybe Roquan Smith is a guy like that, potentially. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, they're all over the field still. These two teams producing these caliber of players. And you sometimes get a feeling before a game that it's going to be close. The Ravens with the 7-point spread. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers goes quietly in this one in the way that happened in Buffalo. He's not even on the field for a part of that fourth quarter there at the end. 10-21, 117 yards. It almost makes me smirk because there's certain games that Aaron has rivalry when Aaron just showed up. It might not happen against the Carolina Panthers, but when I see that orange C on a helmet, I show up. When I see that Raven on a helmet, I show up in a bigger moment. I can't help but feel that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a better performance in this game, backed up by decent enough defensive play. A Mike Tomlin inspired, enthused defense that shows up to play. I know that it may sound absurd to come up with the way that it's been, but I think not that the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game, but that they keep it relatively close. I think that the final score is 21-18. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it comes down potentially to a final drive with Aaron Rodgers and the football, or the Steelers defense needing to get a stop and can't do it. I got faith in Baltimore to win this game. Home field advantage is really big in this rivalry, and getting these games at home is crucial. These teams have met, I want to say, has it been 5 years in the postseason that we've gotten this match? I mean, this rivalry is incredible. It really does fire you up. Harbaugh, Tomlin, two iconic names in this league that have been doing it for close to 20 years now. Ravens are always good. Steelers are always good. There's a starvation now in Pittsburgh, though, for a team that can win a playoff game. It could be really a contender. And I know what it's going to take. It's going to take another wide receiver. This unit as it stands, it will not stand. You need a Carnell Tate. You're going to need Mekhi Lemon, one of those types of guys. If you don't follow my college football content, hit that subscribe button. I talk about these wide receivers all the time. There are so many guys. There's legitimately 15, 20 guys coming out the next 2 years in the draft that are going to be phenomenal players. They're going to take up 12, 15 starting roles in the NFL for wide receiver ranks. Wide receiver play has never been better than it is right now. It's going to continue to happen. We're going to have one of the best classes in history of the league in 2027, but this upcoming year is still going to be an incredible year for wide receivers coming out. That's what Pittsburgh needs. Baltimore, they could use a wideout just as much as Pittsburgh is another guy on the outside. Pittsburgh, if they could get a guy next to Metcalf on the opposite side, work in the slot a little bit more, that's where I think a guy like Mekhi Lemon could really be a decent enough fit. I don't think a player in Jordan Tyson can fall that far. Now we're talking about the draft, but I feel like that's the ultimate need for Pittsburgh and what can turn them into a Super Bowl caliber team, which they just currently aren't at this stage. There's performances that you watch. Seeing them lose to the Chicago Bears hit me hard in the sense Pittsburgh will not be winning the Super Bowl this season. I don't know if people realized that earlier in the year. I was holding out. Aaron Rodgers didn't play in that game, but we all know that it's defense a lot of the time that wins championships. It's good quarterback play, but it's defense. You can win a Super Bowl with okay quarterback play and great defense, but very bad defense and great quarterback play, good luck. You're going to have to win in a shootout, 41-38. This Pittsburgh Steelers team gets me excited for this one. I just think that they fall a little bit short on the road in Baltimore, Maryland for this one at M&T Bank Stadium. Let me know down below what you think of this rivalry. Let me know who you think wins this game. Am I being a little bit too critical on these two teams? It's just I grew up on this rivalry, watching them both go hammering away all these players. I can't help it. I mean, I've got a Ray Lewis jersey. Yeah, that's something that Lambert's one of those guys that just watching those highlights as a kid, Paul Amalu, it just gets you excited. You just look back at those old matchups. It's going to be cold, high low 40s, wind chill in the low 30s for this one. It's just going to be weather, and you have that December feel in the air. It's going to be a playoff level atmosphere. It just gets you fully excited for this one. I hope it's a great game. I feel like we're going to get one here, but am predicting a Baltimore Raven win 21-18 because they will have an ability to run the football decently well, what Pittsburgh has been throughout the season. Again, Baltimore being a top 5 rushing offense still with Henry and Lamar Jackson. And then offensively for Pittsburgh and what they have been identity-wise, it's been a team that's been stale offensively. They're 27th in yards a game, 282. They're last in the NFL in time possession, 27 minutes. That fares horribly well against a team in Baltimore that loves to run the football. They're looking at your 34 sacks, which is 6th in the league. They don't care. 4th in turnover differential, that's +8. They don't care because they can run the football 35 times, and that is what I expect them to do in getting a win at home. Thank you so much for watching this Blitz with Blender video. I'm Josh Blender, making NFL and college content weekly, getting you set and ready for these games, these divisional rivalries. We've got Steelers, Ravens, Bears, Packers this week. It doesn't get any better than the best 2 rivalries in the NFL. I broke that Bears-Packers game down as well. We've got Indiana, Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, 1 versus 2 in a championship conference level game for the first time since 2009. Alabama, Georgia go at it again. A regular season rematch, a rematch of the SEC title game 2 years ago. SEC title game, 4 years ago? The national championship 4 years ago. So all of that happening with college football is then we'll get the bracket coming out. So college football is going off. NFL is going off. So make sure to be subscribed for Blitz with Blender content. Again, remember, my name is Josh Blender. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blender.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.